The European Central Bank just made a complete U-turn. And if you're holding XRP, this demands your immediate attention. The ECB, the very institution that previously branded cryptocurrency as a danger to monetary control, just delivered a message that transforms the entire landscape. You're about to discover how this dramatic policy reversal connects straight to Ripple, XRP, and the framework being silently constructed for worldwide cross-border liquidity solutions. Drop the hype. Ignore the price chatter. What we're revealing isn't some wild speculation play. This represents a geopolitical transformation in financial infrastructure, with XRP positioned directly at its core. If you possess even one XRP token, you must grasp what shifted in Europe and why this might be the institutional approval Ripple's been developing toward for more than 10 years. Before we dive deeper, smash that subscribe button and activate notifications. This channel delivers your competitive advantage in a financial landscape being rebuilt in real time. Let's dissect this. The ECB's complete reversal. What transpired? Let's begin with the catalyst. This past June 2025, something occurred that virtually no one's discussing, yet it'll be remembered as among the most crucial moments in cryptocurrency adoption history. The European Central Bank, arguably Earth's second most influential central bank after the Federal Reserve, just officially recognized that blockchain-powered assets, including tokens like XRP, can strengthen financial stability and liquidity within cross-border payment infrastructures. This wasn't casual commentary. This appeared buried within a technical report titled, "The Role of Tokenized Financial Infrastructure in Europe's Future Settlement Network." The message was unmistakable. Tokenized assets, programmable liquidity mechanisms, and interoperable digital payment networks will probably complement current clearing infrastructures and, under certain conditions, minimize counterparty risks while boosting settlement effectiveness. Here's the translation. The ECB just announced to the world that crypto-powered payment systems are no longer threats. They're becoming essential. Let that resonate. Merely 2 years back in 2023, the ECB released warnings about cryptocurrency mania, with Christine Lagarde herself labeling crypto assets as worthless, dangerous for everyday savers, and threatening monetary sovereignty. Yet now, this identical institution openly researches token bridges, programmable settlement systems, real-time cross-border clearing, and labels them foundational breakthroughs. They're not just theorizing either, they're observing what's functioning in practice. That's where Ripple and XRP enter the picture. Major shift from doubt to implementation. ECB President Christine Lagarde delivered the bombshell during a June 2025 press conference. Tokenized currency formats and programmable payment systems will serve a complementary function in Europe's digital financial system evolution. Reread that statement. Not might serve, will serve. This comes from the leader of the central bank controlling the euro. She's not discussing stablecoins. She's not referencing Bitcoin. She's addressing infrastructure, the foundation of programmable currency. When you analyze that into existing technologies available today, only a select few platforms can deliver what she's outlining. That limited list features RippleNet, XRP Ledger, and the infrastructure Ripple's spent 12 years quietly constructing. Let's piece this together. This isn't coincidental. Here's the behind-the-scenes reality. The ECB's Digital Euro initiative has advanced into Phase 2. This means it's moved beyond research toward real-world trials with chosen banks and institutions. They're not merely testing consumer-focused euro tokens. They're examining wholesale CBDCs, digital euros utilized by commercial banks for settling enormous interbank transactions. These demand real-time liquidity systems, cross-border connections, and tokenized value exchanges. Ripple already operates live demonstrations of this precise configuration through partnerships with Banque de France, Monetary Authority of Singapore, Digital Pound Foundation, and various central banks under confidentiality agreements. Now here's the clincher. In a May 2025 policy document, the ECB detailed 3 technical foundations they consider absolutely necessary for digital settlement's future. Real-time settlement capabilities across international borders, built-in interoperability between different ledgers, token bridging systems for on-chain and off-chain value transfers. Let me pose this question. What blockchain ecosystem was literally designed to manage this exact combination? XRP Ledger, RippleNet's on-demand liquidity. ODL solution already serves hundreds of financial institutions for real-time cross-border settlements, utilizing XRP as the neutral bridge asset. So when the ECB states it's prioritizing real-time FX token bridges, they're essentially describing ODL using regulatory terminology. From concept to reality, this has moved beyond theoretical. These aren't experimental simulations. This represents functioning infrastructure. Ripple stands as the sole blockchain company holding licenses across multiple EU jurisdictions as a virtual asset service provider. It provides real-time FX settlement through a compliant, energy-efficient token. It collaborates directly with governments and central banks on programmable payment systems. So when the ECB expresses wanting tokenized bridges to minimize FX inefficiencies, what they're truly stating is, we need what Ripple has already constructed. And they're finally acknowledging it. Why this reversal changes everything, let's be absolutely clear. This isn't merely a friendly announcement. This represents policy restructuring at Europe's monetary system's highest level. Here's what it indicates. Central banks have stopped fighting cryptocurrency. They're incorporating its fundamental technology. Blockchain-powered platforms with institutional-level compliance and utility are now considered critical infrastructure. The upcoming regulatory support wave and capital influx will target tokens with genuine applications. Not memes, not speculation. That's precisely why XRP just entered the spotlight. Because Ripple's framework represents one of the few platforms checking every requirement, the ECB just elevated to priority level. Real-time settlement capability, programmable liquidity systems, bridge functionality between multiple fiat and digital currencies, scalability for interbank transactions, regulatory transparency. This transcends cryptocurrency adoption. It's an institutional transformation. The barriers are beginning to open. This ECB bulletin signals what's coming before the wave hits. Now that Europe's leading monetary authority has indicated tokenized assets will play a role, it's merely a matter of time before European banks start testing RippleNet pathways. Commercial clearinghouses will experiment with XRP as bridge tokens. European Union regulators will accelerate backing for liquidity-supported tokens. When that occurs, utility-focused tokens like XRP won't require hype to advance. They'll move on transaction volume, infrastructure demand, and policy approvals. The same way oil flows through pipelines or electricity travels through grids, that's this shift's true nature. Not price speculation, but a monetary network enhancement with XRP potentially central. While most attention focused on SEC courtrooms in America, Ripple continued what it excels at most, building quietly, strategically, and internationally. While mainstream media obsessed over legal battles and influencers argued XRP price forecasts, Ripple was integrating itself into Europe's financial transformation core. Now the landscape illuminates like fiber optic infrastructure coming online. Let's examine what most overlooked and why XRP likely already forms part of the EU's digital settlement framework. Strategic maneuvers that went unnoticed. Ripple didn't simply expand to Europe, it constructed an institutional stronghold. Between 2023 and 2025, Ripple quietly established itself in every crucial regulatory and financial center throughout the European Union. Let's focus. First, Dublin and Zurich operations. Ripple established new European headquarters in Dublin, Ireland, among the EU's most crypto-friendly regulatory environments post-Brexit. Zurich, Switzerland, became its strategic center for token custody and institutional services, connecting directly into Europe's private banking ecosystem core. These weren't symbolic offices, they were strategic footholds, completely licensed, compliance prepared, designed to satisfy MiCA regulations and ECB oversight standards. They included teams focused not on retail excitement, but CBDCs, liquidity routing, and digital asset custody for major institutions. Second, the $250 million Medico purchase. In May 2023, Ripple executed one of crypto history's most undervalued moves. It purchased Medico, a Swiss institutional-grade custody provider, for $250 million in cash and equity. Medico isn't typical crypto wallet technology. This firm earns trust from Standard Chartered, BBVA, Societe Generale, and DZ Bank, Germany's second-largest financial institution. Their harmonized platform delivers tokenized asset custody that's completely programmable, modular, and MiFID II compliant. Precisely what regulated banks require for CBDC and liquidity token interactions like XRP. By acquiring Medico, Ripple didn't just gain custody capabilities. It secured direct connections to Europe's most conservative, risk-conscious banking institutions. Through those channels, XRP already flows, whether people recognize it or not. Third, modular partnership, UK and EU corridor control. Simultaneously, Ripple formed a significant partnership with Modular, a regulated UK-based payment platform approved by the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA. Modular manages real-time payment systems across the UK and Europe, including SEPA, Faster Payments UK, and IBAN systems integration. RippleNet now enables real-time settlements for businesses across 36 European Economic Area countries using Modular's native interfaces. This means any company connected to Modular's API potentially routes payments over XRPL-supported liquidity systems, with XRP serving as the behind-the-scenes settlement asset. Like Stripe for Europe, except liquidity optimization and FX routing become programmable using blockchain assets. This leads to our next point. Fourth, XRPL powered liquidity pathways are rapidly expanding. RippleNet corridors in Europe have quietly launched or scaled across Sweden, Germany, France, Italy, and Ukraine. Yes, Ukraine, a nation urgently needing real-time financial infrastructure. Ripple has provided liquidity solutions for remittances and humanitarian transfers, demonstrating blockchain's ability to solve real-world payment inefficiencies. But this extends beyond payments. This involves liquidity engineering, using XRP to eliminate nostro-vostro account requirements, free institutional capital, and compress settlement timeframes from T+2 to T+0. This is Ripple executing its master strategy quietly while everyone else chases trending coins and headlines. Fifth, XRPL, Sidechains, and CBDC interoperability strategy. Now here's where things intensify. Ripple isn't just operating corridors, it's engineering digital infrastructure for the ECB's future roadmap. Since 2022, Ripple developers have constructed sidechains and federated bridges to the XRP ledger, enabling tokenized asset creation, CBDC testing, smart contract functionality via hooks and sidechain validators, and private channels for central banks. These pilots, running in parallel environments, allow central and commercial banks to test synthetic CBDCs, execute interbank exchanges, and simulate real-time FX transactions with XRP as the neutral liquidity layer. In 2024, internal ECB discussions, revealed through leaks and policy briefings, included terminology that triggered alerts. Token bridge liquidity mechanisms were identified as strategic priorities for pan-European settlement architecture. That's Ripple's precise language. No other blockchain company uses this terminology so consistently. It's reasonable to conclude that Ripple's influence appears throughout the architecture being designed privately in Europe. Given Medico's connections to institutions like Societe Generale and DZ Bank, it's probable that test corridors involving tokenized CBDCs and XRP have already occurred privately. Behind closed doors, Ripple may already be integrated. Listen, no central bank will publicly declare they're currently using XRP. That's not standard procedure. What they will do is test Ripple's infrastructure under confidentiality agreements, integrate compliant versions into testing environments, and await regulatory clarity, which the EU already possesses through MiCA. Here's what we understand. Ripple received invitations to multiple BIS Innovation Hub working groups. It collaborated directly with the Digital Euro Association. It helped develop technical recommendations on programmable liquidity standards. If the ECB's internal documents adopt Ripple's terminology, reference token bridges, and define liquidity mechanisms using Ripple's approach, then XRP already functionally exists within the blueprint. The only missing element? Official launch, from testing to live systems. Here's where excitement builds. The ECB has officially recognized blockchain payment systems in their June 2025 bulletin. Ripple possesses infrastructure, partnerships, regulatory licenses, and proven corridors throughout the EU. The XRPL features programmable architecture already tested for CBDC compatibility. The remaining step? Transition from testing to live systems. Once that happens, XRP won't need speculation to move. It'll advance on volume. It'll advance on integration. It'll advance on European commercial banks using it to reduce settlement expenses and unlock liquidity. The market won't price it in quickly enough. The approaching convergence, digital euro meets XRPL. This becomes fascinating. The ECB's digital euro isn't solely about retail payments. The real opportunity lies in wholesale interbank settlements. Here, XRP's value proposition becomes undeniable. The ECB explores 24/7 cross-border clearing, tokenized assets on interoperable ledgers, and bridging commercial bank tokens with CBDCs. Sound familiar? That's precisely what Ripple's CBDC platform was designed to accomplish. Actually, Ripple CTO David Schwartz explained that the XRPL's unique issuer-free liquidity model perfectly suits inter-CBDC bridging, eliminating friction, minimizing counterparty risks, and reducing settlement times from 2 days to 2 seconds. Meanwhile, the ECB tests automated solutions that manage cross-ledger flows, tokenized collateral exchanges in real time, and programmable payout logic for automated finance. Every single capability already functions on the XRPL through hooks and sidechains. This has moved beyond speculation. The digital euro won't operate on XRP, but XRP could become the neutral liquidity bridge between digital euros and other currencies. Exactly like Ripple's ODL model functions today, that represents trillions in flow potential. The ECB now openly discusses this interoperability model as urgently required. Institutional liquidity approaches and XRP returns to play. Let's discuss money. The ECB's tone shift accomplishes one thing above all: de-risks blockchain liquidity for institutional investors. This enables European commercial banks to experiment with XRP as a settlement asset without regulatory backlash fears. EU-based remittance companies like Santander, Azimo, and Tranglo can expand RippleNet integrations using XRP for float optimization. Hedge funds and FX desks can utilize on-demand liquidity corridors in Europe without compliance department restrictions. The 2024 Markets and Crypto Assets Regulation, MiCA, marked the turning point. It established a legal framework recognizing utility tokens, liquidity tokens, stablecoins, and bridging tokens like XRP. Ripple already holds Virtual Asset Service Provider VASP licensing in multiple EU states. With regulatory clarity established, only volume remains. That's where institutional demand strikes. Multiple 2025 reports indicate Ripple's ODL flows in the EU increased 260% year-over-year. $3.5 billion in value moved through European corridors in the first quarter alone. Over 20 Tier 1 banks actively discuss tokenized FX pilots with blockchain partners. You believe that happens without ECB approval? Absolutely not. The final catalyst: XRP's function in the next monetary layer. This part most won't believe until it materializes. The ECB's transformation isn't simply about embracing crypto. It's about preparing for the next monetary layer where CBDCs operate continuously across borders. Commercial banks settle using digital tokens, value moves like email, and blockchain assets like XRP become core infrastructure. Here's what you're missing. Ripple has quietly attended Bank for International Settlements, BIS Innovation Hub meetings under confidentiality agreements. They're examining how neutral liquidity bridges can reduce systemic FX slippage. The IMF already stated that a supranational liquidity token could decrease global settlement costs. Translation: they're subtly promoting XRP without naming it. With the ECB now accepting blockchain-native infrastructure, we could be months from seeing Ripple join a formal EU-level working group to pilot actual liquidity mechanisms. That would be the catalyst. Not hype, not speculation. Simply XRP performing what it was always designed to do: serve as the Internet of Value's core bridge asset. Europe just opened the gates. This is it. The European Central Bank just transformed the engagement rules. Ripple is already embedded. XRP is already licensed. Regulatory clarity exists. The technology functions. Now, the policy narrative just shifted in XRP's favor. If you currently hold XRP, understand this. You're not holding a meme. You're holding infrastructure. The next monetary evolution wave is no longer hypothetical. Europe just confirmed it. Here's the strategy. Double down on understanding utility. Monitor the corridors, not the charts. Follow the institutions, not the influencers. Because while everyone awaits hype, XRP is being integrated into the global financial system's infrastructure. When it activates, the price won't climb. It will surge. If you found this analysis valuable, smash that like button, turn on all notifications. This is just the beginning.